The airport smelled like cold metal, burnt coffee, and the kind of impatience that scraped at your skin. Terminal B hummed, wheels rattling, announcements echoing, people rehearsing their goodbyes and reunions in low voices. I stood there with my backpack cutting into my shoulder, boarding pass folded soft as a secret in my hand, and my mama's voice drilling into my ear. "Jasmine, don't start with me today." I looked down at the pile of luggage by our feet. 4 suitcases. 2 carry-ons. A tote bag stuffed to the mouth. All of it leaned toward me like a dare. My younger sisters, Naomi and Kayla, stood off to the side scrolling on their phones, long nails clicking, lashes blinking slow like nothing in this world was urgent. "I'm not starting," I said. I said no. Mama's jaw tightened. She wore her traveling face, wig pulled back tight, gold hoops flashing every time she turned her head, lips pressed into a line that had ended arguments long before they began. She had that look that meant remember who you are to me. "You're the oldest," she said. "You always help." I exhaled. I'd been helping since I was 10, packing lunches, braiding hair, walking them home, giving up weekends, giving up quiet. Helping had grown teeth. Helping had weight. "I already have my bag," I said, tapping the strap on my shoulder. "And my carry-on. I told you before we even left the house." People streamed past us, business suits, families, a couple arguing softly in Spanish. Somewhere a baby cried, thin and sharp. The overhead speaker crackled, calling a flight to Atlanta. My flight. The one I had paid for myself. The one that was supposed to take me somewhere I could breathe. Mama stepped closer. "Don't embarrass me." I laughed once, short and tired. "You embarrassing yourself. That's when it happened." The slap was loud. Not movie loud. Worse. Real. The sound bounced off the tiled floor and shot up into the ceiling. For half a second the world stalled, like even the conveyor belts paused to watch. My face burned. Heat spread from my cheek to my ear, down my neck. My eyes stung, not from tears yet, but from shock. I tasted iron. A man nearby sucked in his breath. A woman froze mid-step, mouth open. Naomi's phone slipped in her hand. Mama's eyes were wild, furious, and afraid all at once. "Don't you ever talk to me like that," she said, voice low, shaking. "Not in public. Not nowhere." I stared at her. Something old cracked open in my chest. Every swallowed word, every time I'd been told to be grateful, to be quiet, to be strong. The airport felt suddenly too bright, too loud, too full of eyes. "I'm done," I said. My voice surprised me. Steady. Clear. "I'm not carrying nothing," Kayla hissed. "Jazz, just do it." I shook my head. No. Mama's hand hovered like she might do it again. For a split second I wondered if she would. Instead, she grabbed the handle of one suitcase and yanked it toward Naomi. "Then figure it out," she snapped. "Since you grown." I picked up my carry-on. My cheek throbbed with every heartbeat. As I walked away, I felt the weight of eyes on my back, felt myself shrinking and expanding at the same time. By the time I reached the TSA line, my hands were shaking. The agent didn't look up when he said, "ID, please." I handed it over. Jasmine Carter, 23. Old enough to know better. Old enough to finally leave. Behind me, Mama's voice rose again, sharp and familiar. I didn't turn around. On the other side of security, I sat on a hard plastic chair and pressed my palm to my cheek. The mark was already blooming, tender, swollen. I checked my reflection in my phone screen. One side of my face looked like it belonged to somebody else. A woman across from me kept glancing over, then looking away. Pity has a posture. I recognized it. I thought about all the times Mama had said, "What happens in this house stays in this house." About how discipline looked different when you were black and everybody was watching. About how love and control braided together so tight you couldn't tell where one ended and the other began. My phone buzzed. A text from Naomi. "You really embarrassed her." I stared at the words until they blurred. Then another buzz. Mama this time. We'll talk when you come back. You owe me an apology. I locked the screen. Across the terminal, a TV played the news on mute. Headlines scrolled. Somewhere, laughter popped like bubble wrap. Life kept moving. It always did. I leaned back and closed my eyes. The slap replayed itself over and over, but so did the sound of my own voice saying no. That part felt new. Dangerous. Necessary. When they called my boarding group, I stood. My legs felt unsteady, but they held. As I walked down the jet bridge, I didn't know yet that this moment, the heat, the eyes, the line I finally drew, was going to split my life clean in two. And I didn't know how much weight I'd been carrying until I started to set it down. The plane lifted like it was pulling a stubborn truth out of the ground. My ears popped, my stomach dipped, and for the first time in years, nobody needed anything from me. No bags. No apologies. No explanations. I sat by the window, forehead against the cool glass, watching the city shrink into grids and glitter. The woman beside me, a middle-aged antitype with soft locks and a lavender scarf, kept sneaking glances at my face. "You okay, baby?" she finally asked. I hesitated. The lie sat ready on my tongue, polite and practiced. Instead, I nodded once. "I will be." She hummed like she understood exactly what that meant and went back to her book. Somewhere over the clouds, my phone buzzed again. I didn't check it. I let the vibration pass through me like turbulence. I thought about Mama's hand in the air, about how quickly love could turn sharp, about how being the oldest daughter felt like a contract you never signed. I slept in fragments, waking between dreams where I was always carrying something too heavy, always being told to hurry. Atlanta greeted me with heat that wrapped around your ankles and didn't let go. My cousin Renee waited by baggage claim, sunglasses perched on her head, arms crossed like she'd been holding space for me since birth. "There she is," she said, pulling me into a hug before I could brace. "Lord, you look tired." That did it. The tears came fast, hot, ugly. Renee didn't ask questions. She just held me, right there between the carousels and the clatter. At her apartment, she handed me sweet tea and an ice pack. When I told her what happened, she sucked her teeth so hard it sounded like punctuation. "Baby," she said, "that wasn't about luggage." I nodded. I knew. That night, I slept on her couch and dreamed of open hands. Mama called the next morning. I let it ring. Then she called again. And again. When I finally answered, her voice was tight and wounded. "So this how you doing me now?" I closed my eyes. "I'm safe. I'm not fighting. You humiliated me," she said. "In front of strangers." Something in me settled. "You hit me." Silence. Then, "I raised you." There it was, the debt ledger. "I know," I said. "And I'm grateful. But I'm not a mule." She hung up. My sisters unfollowed me on Instagram that afternoon. Renee cooked like healing was a recipe. Collard greens simmered low, cornbread crisp at the edges. We sat barefoot in her kitchen, knees touching. "You know they gon' be mad," she said. "I know. And you still not wrong." That sentence felt like oxygen. We talked about Mama's childhood, about how pain traveled like inheritance, about how stopping it felt like betrayal. "Cycles don't break polite," Renee said. "They break loud." By the end of the week, the bruise faded yellow, then disappeared. The memory didn't. I started writing again, journals filled with things I'd never said out loud. I applied for a job I'd been scared to want. I walked alone without checking my phone every 5 minutes. Freedom felt quiet. And terrifying. Naomi called late one night, crying. "She's not talking to me," she said. "She says this is your fault." I swallowed. "I'm sorry she's hurting you." "So you don't care?" "I care," I said. "I just won't disappear to prove it." Naomi hung up, but this time I didn't feel hollow. I realized adulthood wasn't distance. It was boundaries. It was choosing peace even when it looked like loneliness. It was letting people be mad without rushing to fix it. At a bus stop one afternoon, I caught my reflection in the glass. I looked lighter. Mama sent a message. Just 3 words. We need to talk. I stared at my phone, heart steady. Whatever came next, I knew one thing for sure. I was done carrying what wasn't mine. I didn't answer Mama right away. I let the message sit like a glass of water I wasn't sure was poisoned or holy. Renee watched me from across the living room, eyebrows raised. You don't owe nobody immediacy, she said. That night, I called anyway. Mama didn't say hello. You ready to listen now? I'm ready to talk, I said. Not be talked at. A breath. Sharp. You acting brand new. No, I said softly. I'm acting grown. The silence felt heavier than shouting. When she finally spoke, her voice cracked. Just a hairline fracture. I didn't raise you to disrespect me. I didn't disrespect you, I said. I protected myself. She hung up again. But this time, my hands didn't shake. Renee drove me past the house we grew up in, slow like a funeral procession. The paint was peeling. The porch sagged. That place raised all of us, Renee said. And broke some of us too. I remembered Mama's rules written in air. Remembered how quiet felt safer than honest. How love came with conditions and chores. The house stared back like it knew. Kayla FaceTimed me from the bathroom, whispering. She mad, she said. She blaming you for everything. For what? For making it look bad. I almost laughed. It was bad. Kayla swallowed. She scared you gone leave for real. I already did, I said. I'm just not gone from love. Kayla wiped her eyes. I don't know how to do what you doing. Not yet, I said. But you will. The job came through. Front desk at a nonprofit on Auburn Avenue. My first paycheck felt small and mighty all at once. I bought groceries with my own money and stood in the aisle smiling like I'd won something bigger than cash. Independence tasted like store-brand cereal and relief. That night, I taped the paycheck stub inside my journal. Proof. Mama removed me from the family group chat. Aunties noticed. Cousins whispered. An aunt texted me privately. She your mama. I typed back, I'm her daughter. The dots blinked, then disappeared. Mama finally said the words. Or almost. I'm sorry you felt embarrassed, she said over the phone. I closed my eyes. I'm not accepting half apologies. You always want to be right, she snapped. No, I said. I want to be safe. She went quiet. I waited. She didn't finish the sentence. Renee set boundaries like furniture. Solid. Necessary. You can love people and still lock your door, she told me. I practiced saying no in the mirror. It sounded awkward. Then it sounded like me. Naomi showed up unannounced, suitcase in hand, eyes swollen. She hit me, she whispered. My chest went cold. I pulled her inside. We didn't call Mama. We made tea. We breathed. I held Naomi the way I wished someone had held me sooner. Seeing it happen to Naomi burned something clean through me. This wasn't about disrespect. It was about power wearing love's face. I texted Mama one line. This stops with me. She didn't reply. Naomi slept on the couch. Renee locked the door. The night felt charged and quiet. I knew the next chapter of our family wouldn't be gentle. But it would be different. For the first time, I wasn't bracing for impact. I was standing my ground. Mama showed up on a Sunday afternoon. No warning, no call. Renee looked through the peephole and sighed. You want me to handle this? No, I said. I do. Mama stood stiff on the welcome mat, purse clutched like armor. When I opened the door, her eyes went straight to Naomi asleep on the couch. So it's like that now, she said. It's like safe, I answered. She stepped inside anyway. Old habits die loud. We sat at the kitchen table like court was in session. Mama listed sacrifices like receipts, rent, food, school clothes. I let her finish. I know what you gave, I said. I also know what it cost us. Her mouth tightened. I did my best. I believe you, I said. And your best still hurt me. Her eyes flashed, then dimmed. Naomi woke up and joined us, voice shaking but steady. I'm scared of you when you're mad, she said to Mama. That landed harder than anything I could have said. Mama's shoulders sagged. I never meant, Mama began. Intent don't erase impact, Renee said gently from the doorway. Mama looked around like the room had shifted without her permission. Mama finally talked about her own mother. Mean hands, colder words. About learning early that love was something you enforced. I didn't know another way, she whispered. I reached across the table but stopped short. You can learn now. She nodded, slow and unsure. I'll apologize, Mama said. But I'm still your mother. Yes, I said. And these are the conditions. No hitting, no yelling, no public shaming. If it happens again, we step back. She bristled. Then she swallowed. All right. It wasn't perfect. It was a start. Mama faced me, eyes wet. I'm sorry I hit you, she said. I was wrong. My chest loosened like a knot finally giving up. I nodded. Thank you. She turned to Naomi. I'm sorry I scared you. Naomi cried. So did Mama. I didn't rush to fix it. Therapy came up. Mama resisted, then agreed to try. We made rules for visits. Renee wrote them on the fridge like house law. Peace felt fragile, like glass, but it was ours. Months later, I visited the old house. The porch still sagged, but Mama met me with open hands. We talked. We paused when voices rose. We tried again. I left before nightfall, by choice. I carry my own bags now. Dreams, boundaries, soft mornings. I carry forgiveness without amnesia. I carry love that doesn't bruise. Being the oldest doesn't mean being the sacrifice. At the airport again, a year later, Naomi rolled her own suitcase beside me. Mama hugged us both. Careful. Text me when you land, she said. I will, I answered. As I boarded, my hands were empty. My shoulders light. I finally knew the difference between what was mine to hold and what I was allowed to put down.